So I'm going to talk about doing lettering or monogramming. So I'm going to use the monograms built into this Bernina 830. So I'm on the machine, not USB stick. Let's go to the different fonts we have. We have a nice variety of them, but these ones will be vertical. These ones will be horizontal. Let's go lowercase. There we go. And let's do it again. Excellent. If I want, I can turn this. That's, we're going to go right into this word art. So what this will allow me is to put a beautiful art to this. So if I use my top dial, I'm just spacing this out a bit, just so the letters look equal. Now I'm using my bottom dial, and that is putting a curve to it. Now let's say I want to rotate it, so I want the Bernina coming this way. Let's turn this 90 degrees. Let's say I just want to move this over a bit. Now I have my positioning on over here, so my hoop will actually move. If I move my tip, my hoop moves. Sometimes you only want that to move when you're ready to go. Right there. Okay, one thing that we want to take a look at are our stitches. I'm going to magnify this. Let's take a look at our stitch density. Sometimes when you increase or decrease your embroidery motif, you need to change the density of your satin stitches. Simple as hitting the plus. So this is going to be making our satin stitches denser. So if you've increased the size, you may want to increase this as well. And it says you can use this dial here to do the same thing. Now it's important to always test this. Test, test, test. Because you want to make sure that you're not creating more problems. This one up here. This is called, instead of using a satin stitch, this is a step stitch. And this graphic here shows you that it goes at a 45-degree angle. Your satin stitch would be, in this case, it would be vertical. Step stitch is sometimes really, really nice, especially when you have a large satin stitch, because a step stitch takes steps at that 45-degree angle, and it's quite nice. If you adjust any of these, test it out, and then proceed either with what you've done or adjust, then test. Always want to do that. So let's put on my center for this. I'm going to move it to the middle of my hoop. Now, if I wanted to center this inside my hoop, I have drawn a cross on here that is actually tilted to the right. If I wanted my Bernina to be along this line here, may you see that line? Probably not. Probably not.
This one?
Yeah, just this here. So I'm going to do a combination of this screen and then try to line it up there. Is that good? Not yet. I just want to talk about the virtual positioning. I've enabled the virtual positioning on here. This button is depressed. And what will happen is if I move this design, my hoop moves with it. And we can see where the center of my design is. And as I move this, my hoop moves, which means that the center will always move in relationship to the motif. Let's go back out. Now, if I wanted to line this up, so because this is the center here, I'm going to line it up on my stabilizer that I have. Let's increase this. I want to move it down a bit. And then over. So I'm putting, here is my purple cross, which is the center of my design, and I put this right here. Now, if we look at my hoop, I have drawn a cross on here. Here's my center point. I want this center point to be where the noon is, so I'm out probably about 1.5 inches. So let's move it. As you can see, my hoop is moving. The easiest way to see if we're down is I'm going to take my wheel. Look at that, I'm just off right here. Let's go. There we go, I hit the center. So what I want to do now, I have the center, I want to get it lined up on this line. So I need to rotate it. So you notice where my center is now. This is where my needle is. It has now moved down about 1/2 inch. So let's move it out. And this is another reason that your grid will help significantly in lining it up. Yeah. And then let's go up a bit. There. So I have now lined this up. So what you don't want to do is take any of this off, because you've positioned it, you've lined it up on here. I'm now ready to go. So I now want to talk about using the appropriate needle for your Bernina 8 series embroidery machine. You must always use a Bernina embroidery needle. And there are 2 kinds that we can use. You can use the embroidery SUK, or the Bernina SUK Pro. It is very important to use these Bernina needles with your embroidery machine. They have a longer shaft on them, and you'll get superior stitches with it.